Woman, if you need me, then believe me, I need you.
The Beatles didn't just dominate the charts themselves, they quietly handed finished hit records to other artists. Songs so perfectly crafted that they became smashes without anyone realizing where they came from. These are 12 songs you didn't know were written by the Beatles. Hit the notification bell so these deep dives land straight in your feed. Number 12. I Wanna Be Your Man, The Rolling Stones.
Tell me you understand. Tell me that you love me, baby. Tell me you understand.
Two of the greatest songwriting partnerships in rock history converged in a London venue when John Lennon and Paul McCartney ran into the young, still struggling Rolling Stones in September 1963, learned the band desperately needed a commercial single, and simply sat down and finished the song on the spot. It was one of the most casually generous acts in pop history. The Rolling Stones released the song on November 1, 1963, and it climbed to number 12 on the UK singles chart, giving them their first real moment of commercial credibility. The Beatles recorded their own version on the album With the Beatles, released later that same month on November 22, 1963, with Ringo Starr handling the lead vocal. For Jagger and Richards, watching two rivals hand them a hit record almost certainly lit the fire that pushed them to develop their own legendary songwriting partnership. Number 11. A World Without Love, Peter and Gordon.
Here inside, where I hide with my loneliness.
Paul McCartney wrote this when he was just 16 years old, composing it in Liverpool long before the Beatles had any real hope of stardom. John Lennon found the song embarrassing and dismissed it entirely, and the band never pursued a recording of it. That decision turned out to be an extraordinary gift for Peter Asher, the brother of McCartney's girlfriend Jane Asher, whose duo Peter and Gordon recorded it in January 1964 and released it as their debut single. The results were staggering. A World Without Love shot to number 1 on both the UK singles chart and the US Billboard Hot 100, making Peter and Gordon international stars almost overnight. The song was released at the absolute peak of Beatlemania, and the Lennon-McCartney credit on the label was enough to guarantee radio saturation on both sides of the Atlantic. The song Lennon had called a throwaway became one of the defining hits of 1964. Number 10. Come and Get It, Badfinger.
Better hurry 'cause it's going bad.
Paul McCartney recorded a demo of this song in a single evening on July 24, 1969, playing every instrument himself in a rapid, focused session at Abbey Road Studios. He then handed the recording to Badfinger, an early band signed to the Beatles' own Apple Records label, with one strict and non-negotiable instruction: copy the arrangement exactly, note for note, with no alterations whatsoever. Badfinger followed orders, and the result peaked at number 7 on the US Billboard Hot 100 and number 4 in the UK. The song appeared on the soundtrack to the Peter Sellers and Ringo Starr film The Magic Christian, which gave it additional promotional reach. McCartney produced the final recording himself, making it one of the purest examples of a Beatle handing another artist a fully finished, fully produced smash hit and simply asking them to deliver it. Number 9. Badge, Cream. Eric Clapton needed a collaborator to help finish a track for what would become Cream's final studio album, and the man he called was George Harrison. The two had developed a close friendship during the recording of the Beatles' White Album in 1968, cemented when Clapton played the guitar solo on While My Guitar Gently Weeps at Harrison's personal invitation. Badge was the natural creative result of that bond, co-written by the two guitarists and recorded for Cream's Goodbye album in 1969. The problem was contractual. Harrison was still formally signed to the Beatles and EMI, which meant his name could not legally appear on a Cream release. The solution was to credit him under the pseudonym L'Angelo Misterioso, Italian for the Mysterious Angel, a name that fooled almost nobody in the music industry, but satisfied the legal requirements. Harrison played rhythm guitar on the final recording, his unmistakable style sitting perfectly beneath Clapton's lead work. Badge reached number 18 on the UK singles chart and has since become one of the most celebrated deep cuts in classic rock radio history, a collaboration hidden in plain sight for over 5 decades. Before we continue, which of these songs genuinely surprised you the most? Were you already a Peter and Gordon fan back in the day, or did their connection to McCartney pass you by completely? Drop a comment below and let us know where in the world you're watching from. Number 8. Woman, Peter and Gordon.
Woman,
music critics in 1966 had developed a comfortable dismissal for Peter and Gordon, arguing that the duo's success had nothing to do with talent and everything to do with having a direct pipeline to the Lennon-McCartney songwriting machine. Paul McCartney found the criticism irritating enough to design an experiment. He wrote a song specifically for the duo and submitted it under the completely fictitious name Bernard Webb, a fictional student with an entirely fabricated backstory to support the alias. The experiment worked beyond anything McCartney had likely imagined. Woman became a substantial hit, reaching number 14 on the US Billboard Hot 100 in early 1966, entirely on its own commercial merit. Only after the chart success was confirmed did McCartney allow the secret to be published, revealing himself as Bernard Webb to a press that found the whole affair both charming and quietly devastating to the critics who had dismissed the duo. It remains one of the most pointed and elegant rebuttals in pop music history. Number 7. Bad to Me. Billy J. Kramer with the Dakotas.
Me crying made me sad. Don't be bad to me.
John Lennon wrote this song while on holiday in Spain in April 1963, not on a whim, but with a specific voice in mind. Beatles manager Brian Epstein had signed Liverpool singer Billy J. Kramer to his management roster, and Lennon deliberately tailored the song to suit Kramer's warm, straightforward vocal style. Bad to Me was released on July 26, 1963, and went straight to number 1 on the UK singles chart, holding that position for 3 weeks. The following year, it crossed the Atlantic and reached the US top 10, peaking at number 9. Lennon's demo of the song remained privately held for years, only surfacing publicly decades later, giving fans a rare glimpse at how quickly and cleanly he could produce a fully realized pop song. Number 6. Sour Milk Sea, Jackie Lomax. George Harrison wrote this song while studying transcendental meditation with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in Rishikesh, India, in early 1968, drawing directly on the philosophical teachings he was absorbing. Apple Records had just launched, and Jackie Lomax was among its first signings. What listeners rarely realize is that the recording session assembled something very close to a full Beatles performance. And then some. Paul McCartney played bass, Ringo Starr played drums, George Harrison played rhythm and acoustic guitar, Eric Clapton contributed lead guitar, and Nicky Hopkins played piano. The track was released as a single in August 1968, but failed to chart significantly in either the UK or the United States. History has since judged it more kindly, recognizing it as one of Harrison's most spiritually earnest compositions, recorded by a cast that would have sold out stadiums under any other name. Before we reach the top 5, here is a question worth sitting with. Did you ever own a record by any of these artists without knowing the Beatles were behind the songs? A lot of people built entire playlists around Beatle-written material without ever realizing it. Let us know in the comments which artist on this list genuinely caught you off guard. Number 5. Goodbye, Mary Hopkin.
Goodbye, goodbye, my love, goodbye.
Her debut single, Those Were the Days, had sold millions of copies worldwide and topped charts in more than a dozen countries in 1968, but the pressure of a follow-up was considerable. Paul McCartney, who had produced that debut, decided to write the follow-up himself rather than leave it to chance, crafting a gentle, folk-influenced song that matched Hopkins' pure soprano without overwhelming it. Goodbye was released in March of 1969 and climbed to number 2 on the UK singles chart. The single had the particular misfortune of being blocked from the top spot by Get Back, a record released simultaneously by the Beatles themselves, making Hopkin the rare artist kept from number 1 by the very person who wrote her song. In the United States, the single reached number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100. Number 4. Step Inside Love, Cilla Black. In early 1968, Cilla Black needed a signature theme to introduce her brand new BBC One variety series, and the person she turned to was Paul McCartney. The two had been close friends since the early Liverpool days, and McCartney composed Step Inside Love specifically to serve as the show's opening number, crafting a warm, jazz-tinged melody with a bossa nova undertow that felt immediately intimate and welcoming. The song was released as a standalone single on March 8, 1968, and reached number 8 on the UK singles chart, giving Black one of her biggest hits of that period. McCartney played an early version of the track live on the BBC himself, helping to promote both the single and the television series simultaneously. Black performed Step Inside Love as her opening number throughout the run of the show, and it remained one of her most requested live numbers for the rest of her career. She passed away on August 1, 2015, and Step Inside Love is now considered among the most enduring examples of McCartney writing entirely in service of a friend's voice rather than his own. Number 3. That Means a Lot, PJ Proby. The Beatles spent multiple sessions in February and March of 1965 attempting to record this track for the Help album, and each attempt ended the same way, with the arrangement sounding cluttered, the mood difficult to pin down, and the song stubbornly refusing to come together. Rather than shelve it permanently, they gave it to American singer PJ Proby, whose dramatic, emotionally open vocal style suited the song in ways that the Beatles' own performances had not. Proby released the single in September of 1965, and it reached number 30 on the UK singles chart. The Beatles' abandoned studio attempts remained completely unheard by the public for over 3 decades, finally surfacing on the Anthology 2 compilation in 1996. Hearing those takes alongside Proby's finished version makes the decision to give the song away entirely understandable. Number 2. Hello Little Girl, The Foremost.
When I see you every day, I say, hello, little girl.
John Lennon composed this song in 1957, when he was just 16 years old, playing in a skiffle group in Liverpool long before the Beatles existed in any recognizable form. By 1963, however, the Beatles had outgrown it entirely, their sound and ambition having moved far beyond anything the song represented. Rather than discard it, they passed it along to The Foremost, another Liverpool act within the Merseybeat scene. The Foremost released Hello Little Girl on August 30, 1963, and it climbed to number 9 on the UK singles chart, a genuine top 10 result built on a song Lennon had written as a teenager 6 years earlier. The only known Beatles recording of the track came from their January 1, 1962 audition for Decca Records, the now famous session that resulted in rejection and became one of the great cautionary tales in music industry history. Number 1. Like Dreamers Do, The Applejacks. Teenage Paul McCartney, he was in his mid to late teens when he wrote it, was composing his own early experiments in song form long before the Beatles had a name or a record deal. Like Dreamers Do was one of those juvenile exercises, a simple, optimistic pop melody built around a call-and-response vocal structure he had absorbed from American rhythm and blues records. The song found its home with the Applejacks, a 6-piece beat group from Solihull who released it in June 1964. It reached number 20 on the UK singles chart, a quietly impressive result for a band working outside the dominant London and Liverpool centers of the British music scene. The Applejacks version appeared during the full height of Beatlemania, meaning the Lennon-McCartney credit on the label carried enormous commercial weight. What makes this entry the perfect place to close is exactly what it represents. A teenage boy sitting somewhere in Liverpool, writing a song good enough to chart years later without him. Proof that the instinct behind one of the greatest songwriting partnerships in history was already fully present before the world had any reason to notice it.